After database statistics is generated, it can start processing new test with statistics overlay. First open a new test. DemoDB12, which has statistics generated from 11 previous tests, DemoDB1 to DemoDB11. Therefore, we can processing DemoDB12 with statistics overlay. First turn on database in M1 and select Generate DB in M2. The menu for Generate DB will be shown. The setup for the upper part menu is the same as regular DBGen, such as select the desired DB name. Input data which is currently open single test DemoDB12. Processing time, channel ID, and so on. The lower part of this menu is DB page setup table. Under Stats/Previous Test column, double-click on the cell of any DB page to turn on Stats/Previous overlay for that page. Click again to turn it off. To turn on statistics overlay for all pages, simply click on All button. Since page 1 is RPM and power level profile in reference window, statistics overlay doesn't really applied, therefore, double-click on its cell to turn it off. Next, click on the Stats menu button and turn on the desired stats. Time domain overall stats overlay will be a constant horizontal straight line such as its overall mean value or max value. Time domain decomp stats overlay will be function of time and its corresponding decomp reference such as power level profile of current test. Frequency domain overall stats overlay will be a function such as its max PSD. Frequency domain decomp stats overlay will be based on the current time of PSD and its corresponding power level i.e. decomp reference. In other words, it will overlay high power levels PSD stats if current PSD's power level is in the high power level range. For frequency domain 3D spectrogram, only one stats can be overlay since the overlay will be in thresholding format, that is the color of the spectrogram will be red if the PSD is above the stats, and will be black and white if the PSD is below stats. Let's turn on time domain decomp stats and click menu button and select the desired statistics to overlay such as mean value, minimum, and maximum value. Also turn on frequency domain decomp stats. Click menu for 2D button and select the desired statistics to overlay such as max PSD and mean plus 3 sigma. Next turn on 3D frequency domain overall stats. Click menu for 3D button and select only one statistics which is mean plus 3 sigma. Next let's turn on apply cross stats. Stats overlay is default to auto stats mode, which means each DB will overlay the stats from same DB page. However, sometimes there is a need to overlay the stats from different DB page. In this case, we need to use cross stats mode and enter two parameters A and B. Where A represents the DB page number the stats is to be overall in cross stats mode, and B represents the DB page number the stats is from. For example, 9 and 10 will overlay page 9 PSD with page 10 stats which is spectrogram. In addition to stats overlay, we can also overlay previous test DB page on the current test DB page. Click Select Tests button and select the 11 previous tests to overlay from. Then select All Page, Sequence of Page, or manual selection of DB page for previous test overlay, and manually enter a set of parameters P, C1, and C2. P represents DB page number for overlay. C1 represents parent plot, while C2 represents populated plot. C1 and C2 have 3 setting. 0 for no overlay at all. 1 for stats overlay only. 2 for previous test overlay only. And 3 for both stats and previous test overlay. For example, 6, 1, 2 indicates that is will overlay page 6 parent plot with stats only, and overlay page 6 populated plot with previous test only. Also notice that stats overlay can only be applied to parent plot, but previous test overlay can be applied to parent plot or populated plot. Also select the color for current test and for previous tests to be overlaid. In DB page table, it will show cross stats mode for page 9 with stats overlay from page 10, while all the other pages will be in auto stats mode. Now click Start button. The database will start processing the new demo test 12 data with statistics and previous test overlay. Now the DB will start processing the new input data demo test 12 with statistics overlay. The first page is RPM profile. For this page, its statistics overlay is turned off, therefore there is no data overlay in this plot. The next page is max-min waveform reduction from 2 Excel channels. Now there are 3 addition line overlay on this plot, which are its mean value statistics, minimum, and maximum value. Notice that these statistics are decomp statistics, which means they were computed as a function of its corresponding power level of the new test. The third page is RMS reduction over the full frequency range. The overlay statistics are also the mean value, minimum, and maximum value. Next page is composite RMS tracking from 25 Hz to 500 Hz frequency band. Page 5 is histogram of bandpass filtered signal from 25 Hz to 500 Hz. Notice that page 5 only turns on previous test overlay without the stats overlay, and these gray lines in the background represent the previous 11 histograms from test 1 to test 11. Page 6 is peak RMS tracking at sync frequency 1N. This parent plot has decomp statistics overlay on it. Recall that page 6 also has its right menu SD turned on, therefore it also generates a populated plot, which is the scatter diagram of sync RMS with respect to RPM. And the populated plot has 11 previous scatter diagrams overlay on it. The next page is 1N phase tracking with respect to speed channel. This parent plot has decomp statistics overlay on it. Page 7 also has its right menu SD turned on, therefore it also generates a populated plot, which is the scatter diagram of sync phase with respect to RPM. And the populated plot has 11 previous scatter diagrams overlay on it. Page 8 is peak RMS tracking of 4N. Page 9 is 4-second averaged PSD at multiple time segments of interest or PST. This page will generate multiple plots, one at each PST time. The statistics overlay is max PSD and mean plus 3 sigma. Notice that these statistics are decomp statistics. Therefore the overlaid statistics could be different at different time or depending on its current power level is in low or mid or high power level range. Page 10 is 3D PSD spectrogram. For 3D spectrogram, only one statistic can be overlay, which is mean plus 3 sigma of its overall statistics. Also the overlay is plotted in thresholding format with the selected statistic being the threshold level. In this plot, the spectrogram in red color indicates its PSD is above the threshold level, while the remaining part in black and white is below the threshold.